Well, if you tried doing that with my dog, it'd bite.
99% of what you see on social media is not real protection work.
Fired.
Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this glorious world we call Earth. I am Jared with Species Canine Podcast. Today is July 28th, and I am with the one and fabulous, the only Taylor. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. I like your microphone setup.
I appreciate that.
I heard enough of you bitching about how you lost the part to set it up.
Yeah, but I was able to kind of fix it. It's working for now, but I did contact them, and they're going to send me the missing bolt that I need free charge.
Watch, now in the middle of the episode, it's going to go...
No, it's secure. It's good.
Okay.
It's good. Okay. It's a glorious day in central and southern Texas, other than having a heat index of like 103 and like 95% humidity. It is a swell day to go train dogs on a bite suit.
Maybe for you. Actually, for a second there, it looked like you had just like a dead person laying back there on your treadmill.
No, I haven't put it away yet. I had it out this weekend.
The suit, not the dead person.
No, I keep that in the basement.
There's no basements in Texas.
Thanks for ruining it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I digress. So what are we talking about today?
Aggression drives. So there's lots of people that when we talk about protection work, they talk about their experiences with it, their opinions on it. And so I thought we could just do a little bit more detail into the aggression cycle and the different drives that different dogs tend to work in. And then like we could show examples because it's all not the same. People just think, oh, the dog's biting someone. It's all under the same umbrella, and it's not. They're very different scenarios.
That is, and you can actually go in so much deeper than just the scenario of actually the aggression portion of it. There's different types of bites, like defensive bites, and break skin, or anything like that we call a dry bite. You know, stuff like that. Even you can even go that depth into it. I don't think we'll have time for all of that. Do you have like a visual we want to pull up for the folks so they know what we're talking about?
I love how you just acted like we didn't just pull that up before the thing.
Yeah, hey, that site looks familiar. Hey, there's a good-looking guy. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, this guy?
That's a pretty-looking dog. Look at that dog.
And it looks like a scary dog.
Yeah, doing that big old wrap-up and trying not to get all cut up by her dew claws.
I would hate to be muzzle punched by that dog.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that's like.
This is our site. It's very pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but right here, right here, we have the aggression cycle. We've got 4 circles here, and you'll notice that some of them are overlapping, and that is because the dog will transition through each one. So flight is exactly what it sounds like. It's running away from the threat. And many dogs, especially if they have a high survival instinct, would rather run away from a threat than confront it. And you have defense, which is exactly what it sounds like. The dog is holding its ground against a threat, but it's not going forwards. And you have fight, which is actually actively fighting, maybe going a little bit forward, and then they go a little bit forward. It's engaging in the fight. And then prey is the threat is running away, and the dog is chasing the threat. And sometimes a dog can kind of be in both. If you're looking at a scenario, it's not a completely clean thing all the time, but kind of like a car, you have to shift through the intermediate gears to get to the high gear, and then same thing back down. That's how we kind of think about this concept of the aggression cycle.
Yes, very good. So, you know me, we're always going to talk about ethology, right? Where does this come from? How we see this in Mother Nature with wild wolves and canines. So, you know, in flight, right, you know, the threat is great enough. I'm not going to stand my ground, and I damn sure not going to engage in this. So, i.e., a lone wolf stumbles across somebody else's territory, is confronted by 3 or 4 other wolves. It runs. That's a suicide mission, right? Like, I'm going to live to fight another day. I'm going to run away. Defense, that's where you'd see in those situations like a mother defending its cubs against another wolf, where the option of fleeing is really not an option. So we have to defend our territory. I'm going to defend my kill, so I'm going to hold my ground and defend me and my food. Fight mode is like, now, okay, now you engaged, I'm not leaving, now we're going to fight. Now we're engaging. I will go into how we'll see this in like protection work. And then prey is what you did to catch that meal. You chased it. And sometimes prey fights back. So you're a wolf or a pack of wolves, you're chasing some big old bull elk, and it decides, I'm not running no more. I'm going to square up. I can't exhaust myself. And now all of a sudden you went from prey and you downshifted to fight. And so that's where that shifting those gears out. So how does this look in protection training? Now, caveat, protection training, meaning protection of oneself, not your property, not pursuing people. This isn't police work. This isn't military working dogs. This is personal protection, controlled aggression, on and off switch with your dog.
Yeah. So, police dogs, apprehension dogs, dogs that are trying to go get the bad guy, work mostly in prey drive and then in fight drive, like when you get the bad guy's gonna fight back. Whereas like your livestock guardian dogs, they're tending to work more in defense. Something could fight back and they could go and fight drive, but they're not really going to go in prey drive, right? You don't want your Anatolian Shepherd to go chase the mountain lion 3 counties over, right?
Yes.
Not to say that they couldn't be a little bit in that during, chasing off the property, but generally we're talking they're staying in this area, right? Yes. Your personal protection dog is going to stay more in this defense fight area. If your personal protection dog is mostly working in prey, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen, because there's a reason you can't shoot the bad guy in the back when he's running away. You also cannot go send your dog after someone that's running away in a personal protection scenario. People need to understand this. 99% of what you see on social media is not real protection work. Okay, so we have an example.
I want to put a disclaimer out there, because there's always going to be somebody out there who's like, oh, I know this guy, and blah, 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 right? We're taking this snapshot of this scenario. I am fully admitting, we are taking this completely out of context.
Yeah.
Okay? Looking at strictly the body language of the dog and the setup of this scenario. That's all we're looking at. End of story. So I don't want to hear the nonsense in the comments. Okay? Please leave the nonsense, because, Tyler likes it. She laughs at it.
Yeah, I do.
But this is the scenario.
We're going to play it. Love the outfit.
Yep.
And so you can see he's petting the dog.
Yeah. So we'll run through and we'll discuss it.
And he slips the sleeve.
Yeah. So from just looking at this scenario, granted, we do stuff with bite sleeves all the time, but we also do a lot of muzzle work and stuff like that. So the dog's not focused on a sleeve. This dog is being trained to target the arm. Clearly so, because he's not had any other protection on except for that bite sleeve on that arm. And he's got a nice undersleeve as well to prevent from pinching. But he's going through the training here, right? And the dog's biting the sleeve, and the dog clearly is having a good time. He's wagging his tail, things like that. I don't even see its hackles up, its ears back. But then it's like, hey, buddy, we're friends. Yep. Just like I do when I'm playing tug with my dogs, because I don't want them ever confusing the scenario and going, oh, this is real, let me bite this guy, right? So we're playing tug essentially with our arm. And then he lets the dog win, build its confidence by slipping the sleeve.
Right, and you'll notice, so when he slips the sleeve, the dog takes the sleeve.
Yep.
The dog's not looking for another bite.
Yep.
The dog clearly doesn't think this is real, and you also cannot really say that they are training for a real scenario. Sometimes when you're doing martial arts, you're pretending it's real even though you know it's not real. This dog, is clearly in play, and there's nothing wrong with that if that's the goal of the session.
Yep.
We don't know the goal of this guy's training, so we're not obviously knocking it. This is an example of a dog is biting some guy in his sleeve, and it's not personal protection.
Yeah, like this thing looks like a healer mix. Good on him. Like you took a dog that really shouldn't have this type of bite instinct and did it. And it's got a nice bite. It has a nice deep bite there. It's holding on.
Look at him bracing his paws.
Yeah, like good on you, man. Like it's hard charge. You got a good catch on the dog. You're not jamming the dog. Like there's a lot of like really positive stuff here. But at the end of the day, this dog is playing right now.
Right.
Now, could you work into that next level? Absolutely. Absolutely. This dog has the genetics capability to do it. but this dog is clearly playing and having a good time. And obviously they are too. They're like Santa Claus and
Oh yeah.
even the little thing at the description at the bottom, wishing everybody Merry Christmas and being safe, Happy New Year.
Oh my god, I love this. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with this. But to show the opposite side, so this is an example of a dog that believes this is real. So what you're gonna see, he's back tied, and this guy over to the left is his owner. And notice the difference here. He does not give two shits about the sleeve. And when the guy pulls away, the dog is still barking, showing good defensive body language. You'll see in the caption, again, I don't know this company at all. This is just an example. This is a dog that's been trained to protect his owner. He doesn't care about the sleeve. He bites because it is presented, right? The body language here is different. This dog thinks this is real.
Yeah, I would agree with that. In this scenario, as soon as he bites the sleeve, it slips off, right? It comes off. So if this is a real scenario, I want you to imagine, it's cold, whatever, and some guy wearing a jacket,
Yeah.
Attacks you, your dog bites, and they slip the jacket, and the dog's like, "Oh, I won," and just stands there or runs off with it, right? This dog slipped the jacket, dropped it, and was like, "Hell no, that wasn't real. Give me a bite," and wanting to bite this guy.
Yeah.
And he's definitely trying to get to his owner. There's a few things I changed that, but that this is on that lines of true protection. Like, this dog clearly does not like this guy and wants to bite him because he's going off. I'm not sure if he's giving him a command or something like that to alert, but as soon as he sees him, he starts showing aggression. This is not sport work. This isn't I'm seeking out the sleeve and gonna do a bark and hold. This dog is clearly just wants to bite, and he got just close enough to let him have the sleeve and not close enough to bite anything else. So this guy, and I'm assuming the trainer, understands if I get too close, this dog's probably gonna bite my leg.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever else it can get a hold of.
Yeah. And I don't think you can hear the actual audio of this video, so I don't know if the guy vocalized, but when the dog goes for the bite, if the guy he actually bit him, acted like it hurt. Yeah.
But this is much more on the lines of true aggression. This dog wants to hurt somebody. It's good genetics, like that dog.
Oh yeah, he's a good looking boy. So, ethology. We have a video here of wolf hunting tactics. Did you want to talk about it?
Yes, let's play it. Let's talk about it really quick. So here we have an elk, a big old bull elk holding its ground. It's not running. So now everyone there is kind of in a standoff of, fight. They're not running away. They're not chasing anything. They're in that defensive and vacillating back and forth between fight and drive. Fight and defense there. Now here, they're chasing something, right?
Prey.
That's this prey drive. So psychologically, the wolves are looking for the weakest, sickest, oldest ones to separate out an elk, just like they're doing here, so they can all focus on one. Let's take this, into a deep dive into what we kind of saw there when we started applying all this to our protection work. Where there's two ways you can go about starting protection training, and I typically like to use pack protection, where we're drawing on the dog's natural instinct to want to protect its owner, conditioning it and building that dog's confidence in that situation. The other way you can do it is the dog essentially has to hold its ground and defend itself, which is a little harder to do. In the scenario of like using the owner, what we typically going to do is make sure the dog's first response is going to be defense. A simple woof, they just bark. Bad guy runs away, and the dog learns, oh, my voice has meaning, right? So that's defense. Then we slowly build on that. Now the dog has to go into fight drive, where they actually got to hit the agitator. So this is, a lot of misconceptions with the people of this world who are like, oh, your dog's not biting and holding, that's not real. Well, if your dog is standing between the owner and a bad guy in defense mode, where it's not holding on, letting go, but you still can't get to the owner, the dog did his job.
Could I just interject? Like the difference between a dog that you're saying like the bite and hold versus a dog that's going to stand its ground and just make the bad guy go away. We were just talking about, I found a civil litigation case where some family bought a protection dog for $50,000 from one of these places that imports German Shepherds from like East Germany, and they train this dog, and they were training the dog mostly in play. The dog's biting because biting is fun to that dog genetically, not because it cares. And they had an incident and the dog did not step up. And so they sued this company. They're like, I paid you $50,000 for a protection dog and the dog did not protect us. The dog you paid $50,000 for, and yeah, he does real fancy bite work and he bites and holds, but he didn't, when time came, he wouldn't step up either because he didn't have a relationship with the owners or he was scared, whatever. But what's the purpose of what we're doing here?
Yeah, and those dogs, that's the difference between like IPO, French ring, Shih Tzu, and all that stuff. Doing bark and holds are all impressive and they're all looking for points because that's sport work. There's a big difference between two guys in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match on a mat in gis that are a tap out away from ending everything versus a street fight.
Sure.
There's a big difference. A street fight, yeah, you can gouge someone's eyes out. That's not gonna happen in a jiu-jitsu match, right? And so it's the same scenario where these dogs, if you're training for sport, they're not training for the real thing, right? And they're not using true emotions behind the bite.
Yep.
They're not wanting to really protect, and probably never did muzzle strikes. They never did those things. They never set those scenarios. Did a hidden sleeve, or a hidden bite suit, or the dog wasn't looking for a bite suit. There's plenty of videos where you can see police canines that are released and run right past the suspect because the dog is looking for a bite sleeve. And you can see plenty of videos where there's a police canine standing there and somebody walks by in a big old puffy jacket, looks like the bite sleeve, and they bite the person.
Yeah. Well, because dogs are super contextual, so that's their picture in their head, and you never show them a different picture.
Yeah.
Which is why we do stuff with muzzle strikes and stuff.
Yeah, they're very smart at compartmentalizing scenarios. Yeah, you can look up, they do police beatdowns with their canines. So when a dog goes into like a prey drive scenario, if the officer, the actual handler of the dog, is on the ground getting their ass beat, there's a huge percentage of the time the canine would actually bite the handler.
Right, because that's the picture they were shown.
Because, we're in prey drive, this guy's getting chased, and we're beating this guy up, let's do that.
The other thing I wanted to mention is fear bites. So like when people are cutting their dog's nails and the dog like nips them, bites them, a dog that is a fear biter means that they're going to bite in a scenario where they would rather run away, but flight is not an option. So if you remember the Venn diagram, it went flight to defense, right? So if flight is not an option, like they're backed in a corner or they're back tied or for some reason they can't run away, then the only next option is a fear bite.
So I talked about earlier how we can train a dog in personal, like its own defense, right? And you can do a thing called flanking a dog. And you can only do it a couple times. And if the dog doesn't respond to it, this dog is not going to be a personal protection dog. End of story. And yes, you have the dog back tied. It gets flanked. It does a quick little defensive bite. I just say it runs away. The next time it gets that scenario, the dog goes, oh, maybe if I show the aggression first, the thing will go away, and then you can build on that. But that's a kind of a last ditch scenario that you ever want to do, simply because the dog could just not bite; it just shuts down, and you never want to go that direction. That's why we always like to use the owners and do what we call owner beatdowns, where we're literally beating up on the owner in front of the dog, and the dog has that emotional reaction.
Allie calls it emo protection. Protection for love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, there is still a genetic component there. Like, if somebody was to call you right now and be like, I have a husky, can you train my husky in protection? You might be like, maybe, but that's not what it was bred to do.
Yeah. So it was a story that was told to me that a guy that we had a little Malinois. I actually seen video of it. He's out walking, him, and he had a husky. He actually had a little husky with him, and he's on a rural road out in the middle of nowhere. And a couple of guys pulled up in a truck, started kind of harassing him, being a little racist with him and things. Basically, we don't like you type and all this thing. And they get out of the car and they, started getting physical. And he let his Malinois go on one of the guys, and she latched onto his arm, and she was taking full-on punches and just held on. And He starts fighting with the other guy, falls on the ground, but as this is all happening, he sees his husky just
Bye.
took off. Like, I'm a part of this. But the dog came back, circled up around the guy that he was fighting with on the ground, and came up and bit him in the leg.
Oh, I love that.
So, and he even, the guy this happened to, telling the story, he said, like, I never thought in a million years I would do protection training with my husky. Like, he just never had, like, the genetics. He never thought that. The dog was like, okay, I'm going to look for the best opportunity to help save my pack mates with the least amount of damage to myself.
The last thing that I was gonna say is, speaking of prey drive, if a dog is ever charging you, the worst thing that you can do is run away. Because even dogs that don't have a whole lot of commitment to the bite will see something running away, and if they've got any prey drive in them, will see that as an opportunity. So if a dog is charging you, you can stand your ground, or you can even go forward and look as little like prey as possible. Two things will happen in that scenario. Either the dog you called it its bluff, so it'll be like a holy shit, or the dog was going to bite you anyways, but at least now you're facing the dog, and fighting back gives you a better chance.
Very good advice. Yeah. Because you're not going to outrun the dog.
Nope. Unless you're in a car.
Unless you're like 2 steps away from your car, your front door, or something like that, then yeah. But you're in the park, there's no way of like getting to a safe place. Yeah, if you charge the dog, there's a good chance that dog is just going to tuck tail and run.
Yeah.
Because that was not the scenario it signed up for in its mind. Vast majority of the time. Now, don't be like, oh, if you tried doing that with my dog, it'd bite.
My chronic ortho.
Yeah. There's always an exception to the rule. The exception proves the rule, right? So, the vast majority of the time, your average dog that just gets out of the backyard, that wants to chase something, if you challenge it, is probably going to run away.
Yeah. Now, okay, so like maybe you stumbled into somebody's yard because there wasn't a fence, or maybe you're by the dog's puppies and you didn't know. Maybe there's exceptions to the rule, but we're talking about the dog gets out, he's chasing you.
Yeah.
Right?
So we're talking strictly a prey drive at that situation, because now if you go into someone's backyard, now you're dealing with territorial aggression. And I can't back down. This is my territory. I need to chase this thing off. Right?
And as always, if that dog that's chasing you is like about that life, and you fight them and they're not letting go, like they're latched on, that kind of dog, you got to choke them off. Like, we can't say that enough.
You got to make that dog start rethinking its life decisions, and the only way you can really do that is when it's life preservation time.
Yeah, I mean that's why police departments, the dogs don't have a good out. They just choke the dog off. Like their own dogs.
Yeah, or they break your stick. There's all kinds of videos where you see them pull out the breaker stick, they stick it in the dog's back molars, and they just pop the dog off, right? That's just lazy training to me. It's not very difficult teaching out.
Well, it's really rewarding for police dogs to bite. Like, it's very fun to them. Not like where a personal protection dog, like most personal protection dogs, it's more of like, just get away, I don't like you. So will the dog bite when you don't have a visible bite suit on, or when you're not wearing like a sleeve?
Yeah, well, that's why we do muzzle strikes. There is no bite sleeve, and there's a really expensive bite suit that you can get, and people can have underclothing and stuff like that, and make it as realistic as possible in keeping people safe. Now, at the end of the day, you will never know until that day comes, because you might have a badass dog, and the first time it takes a right hand to the nose from a 250-pound guy at 6'6", will it hold on, or will it go, fuck this?
My 185-pound Corso is so tough, it doesn't matter who's trying to...
You never know until that day comes, when it's a real scenario. Because if you're really doing that in training, you're an asshole.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like football. Like you can, when you're practicing football, you put the pads on. There's some things you can do that are more physical, but you're not actually hurting people.
The worst I ever got hurt was in football practice. Never playing a game.
You were in football? You played football?
In high school. 200 years ago.
But when I talk about NFL teams, you act like I have two heads.
No, I don't follow a bunch of prima donnas.
That's what makes it fun.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to spend my Sunday afternoon cheering for some guy on TV that gets paid millions of dollars that can care less about me. Yeah, that's just what I'm going to do. No, I'm going to go spend my time with my daughter.
Your daughter might end up growing up liking football.
Shut your mouth.
Spend time... Oh my God.
You're fired.
Okay.
1 hour later.
Well, if you learned something today, please like, share, subscribe, drop a comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are. As always, thank you for your support and train smart.